Good morning and welcome. Welcome to a live stream here to fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace, and to hang on to your children. This is a live podcast broadcast around the world. And I welcome you, a warm welcome, because right now you're at your threshold of what to do about CPS. I know how hard it must be to be involved with the agency that in a lot of places is very corrupt, very, very corrupt agency. Um, it's Monday, April 16th. Hopefully all you guys did your taxes and got them turned in. And for those that are hard times, there's always you can file that extension too. I don't want you to forget about that. If you didn't do your taxes, you can file your extension. You have to October 15th. Doesn't mean you have October 15th to pay what's due. If you owe anything, you got to pay. But anyway, that's a little quirk on life skills. I could talk more about that, but I need to stick with what is CPS. I call CPS the Child Protection System. It's a government entity that was set up by Congress in 1962 that sent a directive to social services to create a body that would protect our children from neglect and abuse, that watch their children. So they set aside social workers in social services and created many of the different names that we have for CPS, the Child Protection Systems is what I call CPS. If you're in California, LA County's Department of Children and Family Services. Next door, Orange County is Child Protection Services. Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services. In Kentucky, it's the Cabinet. So no matter what name they call it, it all pertains to a government entity that's supposed to protect their children from neglect and abuse, and also do what's called family reunification. Congress mandated that the family comes first and that the best parents raise the children, studies have shown, are the biological parents. So if the family can be patched up or fixed again, it should be. It's not the incentive that President Bill Clinton signed into law in 1994. I'm still investigating that and changes because what happened then is a message was sent out to all the child protection systems that they get rewarded if they have a child be adopted in foster care, which is wrong. That's not what the purpose of CPS is, or foster care. So I know a lot of you have had your children taken from you through no fault of your own because there are rogue CPS agencies that are gone bad. A lot of them have gone bad. It seems like the more and more I talk to people, have talked to 22 countries now from around the world and all 50 states in the United States. That's over 1,500 people that I've talked to. And I would say 99% of them have had a problem where their children weren't in danger, but the children were taken. And because a lot of people don't know about CPS or how it works or how to defend yourself, you're faced with a reality where they abuse and take your children. They traffic your children into foster care. They steal your children. Fighting CPS is like fighting open heart surgery. If you have open heart surgery and you have to have some critical work done, you're not going to get a mechanic, a car mechanic, or a dishwasher or something like that to work on your heart. Well, that same thing goes true for the child protection system. It's a very complex. They work in what's called dependency law, dependency court. Also, you need to have somebody who experienced in family law and juvenile law Juvenile law, family law, and dependency law all go hand in hand. That's what you face reality. It's not criminal. This is the big difference. And you're labeled guilty until you're proven innocent. Every call that comes in to CPS must be investigated within 24 hours. And a lot of times they have nothing to go on. So they're going to try to get into your home, try to take your children, try to find something they can bust you on. If they're bad CPS, they're out there for the money. It's the money that is incentive. It's $1 trillion business for a lot of the bad CPS entities. $1 trillion is a lot of money. Billions are being sent to the state from the federal government, and the million are sent from the state to the local counties of CPS, that's Child Protection Systems. And there's two kinds of individuals. There's mandated reporters, which are the professionals like doctors and nurses and lawyers and so forth, and teachers and anybody that works with children. If they see abuse, they have to report it by law. It's required. And I would say 75% of the time they are right. They are right. They have found something that definitely needs to be investigated, be corrected. The other kind of reporters are the lay people. Now, the lay people are your family members, they're your neighbors, they're your friends, acquaintances, anybody that does not work with children professionally are the lay people. The only bad thing about them is 50% of the time they're right, but the other 50% they're not right. And they use CPS as an instrument to help out with their divorce or their alienation, their kids from there, or anything else. It's really sad because they abuse CPS. People call CPS all the time, and it's sad because a lot of the ones should have called in. And then what they do, they have to investigate. So it takes time from a real person out there that is brutally hurting a child. Children are hurt all the time. 1,000 cases go unreported every day. And over 500,000 children are being investigated right now in the country. Now, I'll give you some background. I don't want to really spend a lot of time about the history. But we've been trying to protect our children since the 1600s. Hi, Oscar. Glad to meet you. And welcome to my live stream, Oscar. God bless you for finding me, and hopefully I can help you. So in the 1600s to 1875, we had the first part one of CPS. And then from 1875, which was the time that Indians were being settled on reservations, to 1962 is the second part of the history. And during those years, from 1875 to 1962, millions of Indian children were placed in boarding schools, their hair chopped, their heritage eliminated, their language, they couldn't speak the language or eat the food or do the customs of their native language. It was sad because up until 1978, the Indians had no rights, and it took them that long to get rights. That was the passage of the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, which mandated that CPS must turn over Indian children to Indian tribe reservations if they were Indian children. Now, most consensus is 25% you got to have native blood. Also, your tribe's got to be registered, one of the 548 tribes, federal tribes in the United States. And if you're registered or not registered, you have to be tried to be registered too. CPS must turn over the children to the tribe, who place it with Indian families for reunification. Up until 1978, Indian children were never given back to their families. They were eliminated. So we had a period of time where it was terrible. In the 1900s and so forth, there was a lot of societies that stepped in to try to take care of our children. We had the sweatshops. We had so many different things going on. But in 62, it started to get organized. In 74, the laws were passed to enforce people to answer to child abuse or child neglect. Now, this live stream is open to you all. It's an interactive live stream, meaning if you want to say something to me, it's great. If you want to text in a comment or a question, I hope you do. If you want to be a guest on my live stream, I want you to. I can take up to 9 of you. Good morning, Amanda. I remember you from last night. Thank you for coming up. Yes, they do. They do track children for sex trafficking. Yes. There's a lot of abuses goes on, and it's a shame what's happening. It's a shame what's happening. Now we're faced with the reality of CPS is so corrupt, but I'm hoping with the new administration that we have and with Doge, who's investigating social services and will investigate CPS, find out all the bad and fix it. And I know it's sad. It is really sad. I see stories, I relay stories about people that are really lost their children through no fault of their own. I'm one of those individuals. I had a sad tragedy. I lost my job in 2010 through no fault of my own. I was age 60. I had heavy mortgage payments to pay because my lifestyle was elevated to my income. I did put away money to help me save my home for a good, I'd say 6 years, 7 years, whatever. But I eventually had to sell my home for a quick sell so that I could hire an attorney to get my kids. You're probably wondering how my kids got involved or we got involved in CPS. Well, I did not know how corrupt CPS was. And I especially did not know that the Orange County Child Protection Services is very corrupt, from the director all the way down. That director works out of his Taj Mahal palace that looks like the Emerald City in Oz. Very gaudy, very rich. You see where the money is being spent. It is being spent on the children. They're astronomically taking money and making trillions of dollars, and that says it all. I tried to communicate the things we're doing wrong about the social work and stuff. He didn't want to hear it. It made my case worse, to the point where after a year of trying to fight him and using the useless court-appointed attorneys, I hired a real attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's the one that created this live stream, and I'm on here trying to get you guys to get help, whether it's with Mr. Davis or another good quality attorney. But you need an attorney, and Mr. Davis does fit the criteria. Some of you've worked with Mr. Davis, and some of you've had some issues. I'm here to help. I also, besides doing as a live host, I also am a case manager where I talk to potential people that are interested in Mr. Davis and how to acquire him. And so I make calls during the day and talk. And anyway, his background is juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Perfect for the job. He's been fighting CPS for 39 years and gotten back thousands of children. He also was once a foster parent himself, so he knows about the foster care system. He's also a good trial attorney, and he can do civil lawsuits. Once your case is over, he can sue CPS. He's won millions of dollars of suing them both in state court and federal court. And Amanda, if you want to call in, you can call in. I know you have lots of questions, and I love to hear them and try to help you. And I know where you're coming from, Amanda. Before I forget, I need to put some things up on my screen. First, I need to put how to text a comment or a question. It should be pertaining to CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, state, and country. Also, please tell me about your CPS case from beginning to where you're at. That is one way to interact with this live stream. I know it's a hard thing that you're going through. Now, another way that you can interact with this live stream is to be a guest. And I'd love for you to be a guest. Now, I'm on 14 times a week, twice a day. I come on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on the weekends, I'm on at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then evenings, I'm on all 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday at 7 p.m. And that's Pacific Standard Time. Now, that's my schedule typically. There are times that things come up, like this last weekend, I had different hours both in the evening and the morning to accommodate an outside activity. Because I think it's important that you talk to me every day because, number one, you need support. You know, you may not get support from home or family or friends. You may be all alone. A lot of you are single parents, and that is sad. I mean, I heard about a dad who pitched a tent in Alaska to be close to his children. His wife had died, and he was fighting to get his kids back. Even though it was barely cold out there, he slept in that tent. Dedicated dad. There's dedicated mothers out there, too, that are single parents by no choice. Biological fathers run off or abandoned the family. You all are responsible for your children, both father and mother, whether you're married or not. It's your responsibility when you create a child and bring the child in this world that you nurture the child at least to age 18. Give them a chance to be something in this world. Help them. Care for them. And if you get in a hiccup, it's not the end of the world. We can work through this. But it's hard. It's a very hard thing you're going through. Now, I've talked to, people from Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Libya, and then down to Africa, continent of Africa. I've talked to Liberia and Sudan, and I have a new country, Republic of Congo, and then Rwanda, Mozambique, and then South Africa, several of the provinces. Then up to Europe, England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, to 4 provinces in Canada, all the 50 states, and including the District of Columbia. Then south of the border to Mexico. Then in South America, north of Brazil, on the East Coast, Grenada. Then across the South Pacific to New Zealand, and the land down under Australia, 2 states there. That's 22 countries and 50 states. And over 1,500 people have either called in or texted in. I've had heartbreaking calls from South Africa, country code 27, for a remarkable woman, Kita, who didn't have a father growing up, and she says, I'm like her father. I'm trying to be a good man to you all. I do care about every one of you. I'm a loving father and a husband. I have been I have 42 years of marriage experience and helped raise 6 children. 3 of the children are very successful. They're older. They have families of their own. Luckily, they weren't caught up when CPS attacked me and stole my kids, trafficked my kids into foster care. And I had to a year into, I wish I'd done sooner. And I've developed 5 rules that will help you all. And if you haven't heard from them, they're on many of my shows. They're played over. If you have time today, I'll talk about them. Now, I said to be a guest on this live stream. All you do is email my show producer. Her name is Grace, and her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. I want to thank Grace as well as Mr. Davis for all the hard work you both do. You just give her the day and the time you want to be on our show. So that's 14 times you can pick. I want to be a Bob's morning show on Sunday. I want to be a Bob's evening show on Friday. That's all you have to say. She'll give you a link to StreamYard and then tell you how to get on and then what to do and not to do and so forth. And thank you for the emojis this morning. I'm so glad you guys found them. Philistine Gibson is from Canada, and Amanda Thomas, I think, is from South Carolina. I get confused at times. And thank you for the thumbs up, Amanda. That's very blessing. So anyway, I use StreamYard as my application. I broadcast on YouTube. The YouTube room that I broadcast out is called CPS Defense Attorney Vincent Davis. And then there are 7 other rooms, Facebook rooms that come here. That one is the reality series of CPS Horror Stories. Another one is the law office of Vincent W. Davis and Associates. And another one is Relatives Fight CPS. And then I have my own room, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Then The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. Fight CPS Real Talk with Mrs. G. And Juvenile Dependency Child Protection. So I do have a lot there. Now, wow, I did pretty good, Amanda. All right, I better put my number up there in case some of you want to call in. I've already talked about how to text a comment and how to be a guest. Now I'm going to put my number up there. The number in the blue banner with the white lettering is my office number. It's 626-698-0990. You can reach me there. And I have it on there playing for you right now. And you can talk. Now, by talking or being a guest, you'll get 15 minutes of private consultation with Mr. Davis for free. All you have to do is either call in at 626-698-0990 and talk, or be a guest and talk. And so with that being said, you get your 15 minutes on Zoom with Mr. Davis. Make a list of your questions. Make a list of your questions, and I'll gladly help you set that up. The other number on the screen with the red banner and the white lettering to 888-8582. 6582, I'm sorry. 888-888-6582. That number is the law office of Vincent W. Davis. That's his law office. There you can get other attorneys in criminal matters, divorce matters, real estate matters, immigration matters, or whatnot. Also, you can call that number and be retained, Mr. Davis. All I ask is you, when you call that number, that you tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and when you speak to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you. You can also get guides and handouts, the newest one being the grandparent guide of getting guardianship of your grandchildren step by step. and it's $9.99. And if you use a discount code of capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E, that's my name, PACE, and the number 50, you get 50% off. 50% off. You get also the schedule, the times of the shows, and so forth. Furthermore, you can also get our newsletter that we're starting off. For $1.99 a month, we have a newsletter, and you can find out how to get it there. So that's a really informative number there. But to talk to me right now during my live stream, 626-698-0990. Now, if you want to retain Mr. Davis, you want to talk to me further, please call me from 8 to 10 or from 11 to 1, and I'll gladly talk to you if you're interested in retaining Mr. Davis. For example, in the LA County area, his retainer is $5,000. His hourly rate is $500. So that's the price of Mr. Davis. And there's other good attorneys out there. And I suggest, since one of my rules is is to get an attorney. You need an attorney. Now, good morning there, Oscar. I have no idea where you're from, but that's cute. I'm glad to meet you, Oscar. Both Oscar and Amanda, you're welcome to call in and ask any questions that you may have. So far, we have Oscar. We have Amanda from South Carolina. I don't know where Oscar's from, but if you could tell us, Oscar, it'd be great. Also, Oscar and Amanda, if there's a question, please let me help you. I know here my rules and my story and my thing is kind of old and stuff. So I look for new topics. And one of the things I'm trying to do is keep on track of our news on CPS. The news on CPS. Oh, Christina, I haven't heard from you in ages. Good morning, Christina Reynoso. I'm so glad to hear from you. Christina Reynoso has been a long time supporter of my live stream, has been on here and has talked, and she's had a horrible experience with CPS. And she says, I'm going to get money from the state and maybe the ER. Now, I don't know what the ER stands for. Is that emergency room or what? But from the ER. I'd love to pay Vincent Davis. First case is 30-some years ago. Wow. Yeah, his first case was 39 years to be exact. And I'm so happy to see you, Christina. I'd love for you to come on and give me an update about your case. So we have Amanda from South Carolina. We have Oscar from somewhere. And Christina Reynoso is from California, I believe. But I forgot what part of California. But this is an interactive room, so I'd love for you all to talk about something instead of... Oh, wow. Your first case was 30 years ago. Wow, Christina. That's a long time. I didn't know you had a case 30 years ago. I know you have a case in the past year, but I didn't know you had a case 30 years ago. Wow. What was that case like? You like to share, call in and talk about it or something, or what? Um, let's see. You can't talk right now. Feelings under the weather. It's okay, Christina. God bless you. And I want to say special prayers that can make you feel better. But so glad you dropped in. All of you that are listening, if you want to say something, please call in. Um, what happened? Oh wow, my computer. I'm using my son's computer now, and I use both of my sons. It's tricky. They're both in college, and they both use their computers or laptops, and I have used them, and they've been so gracious, allowed me the computer until I get a new one. I've been working really hard, saving every nickel and dime to get a computer, but at my Bangladesh wages, which are so small compared to what I was used to making, it's going to take me quite some time. I'm slowly climbing out of my sandpit. I've been really down for a long time. And my case really, CPS breaks you, Not only do they take or steal your children, they force you to do things that like I had to sell my home that I worked 45 years for. I had to sell my home at a loss, half of its value. Only got what I paid for, a quick sale, and it wiped out my two loans on it, so I didn't owe any money. But it did have very little money left to give Mr. Davis. But I had to hire him to get my two boys back. You have to hire a professional, somebody who's trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. And I hired him because he's the best. He'll go anywhere and he'll fight for your case. He's a true fighter. And he got back my two boys. But unfortunately, how bad CPS is we had a social worker, a young social worker who didn't have even a high school education. And she was entrusted to a family, our family. And she lied. Not only that, we had a case in court where, under oath, she swore to tell the truth. And we had, in our midst of a case, my wife's sister and husband that wanted to adopt our daughter. So Vincent, I just recently hired, and he was fighting for us not to have the adoption, wanted the child to stay with us. But her sister was adamant that she and her husband make better parents. Well, Vincent asked some questions to the social worker. What kind of parents are these? The social worker said, they're great parents, and our daughter would be great with them. And then Vincent kind of looked with a puzzled look on his face. He says, has there ever been any domestic violence? No, there's been no domestic violence, Mr. Davis. They are wonderful parents. Well, then Mr. Davis, with his finesse and his expertise, started bringing out a folder, and in the folder were reports. There were police reports. He started reading them one at a time about domestic violence at my wife's sister and husband's home. Not only were they domestic violence, they were physical domestic violence. They were hitting each other. And then by hitting each other, they were hurting each other. That was not the place you wanted to put your 12-year-old daughter in. And the social worker looked mad and defeated because she lied. She committed perjury, which opens up a lawsuit. And if I had the retainer, I would do it. But I spent all my money from my home sale to give to Mr. Davis to fight for my two boys. But she went ahead and she left the court and she told my wife, "You'll never see your daughter again." And what she did then is she retaliated. This is the bad thing about CPS workers. They retaliate. They retaliate so bad that she took my daughter and said, "You're going to emancipate from your parents. And you're going to divorce them," is what the common language is divorce. Your mom, your dad, your three brothers, your two sisters, your grandparents, both sets of them, that's four people, your aunts and uncles and cousins, they're all gone. Then the social worker told her to change her name completely, and she had a beautiful middle name, Hanalei, which is named after a beautiful place in Kauai. And then she was told to seal her birth certificate and get a new birth certificate with the foster parents on it. No longer mom and dad. After 12 years of raising that child, we're no longer her parents. And then on top of that, she got a new birth certificate and put her foster care parents on it. And she got a second Social Security card, and she was double dipping out of my retirement, my Social Security retirement, because I had gotten additional help on Social Security. When you're over the age of 65 and you still have young children, they give you additional money to help out with your children's expenses. So she was getting over $1,000 with the first Social Security card and another $1,000 on the second, but she didn't get it. The foster care parents did it, and each of them were making $250,000, $500,000 these foster parents had. Plus, they're getting paid by the Orange County Child Protection System as foster parents. I mean, CPS was getting over $20,000 per child. That's $60,000 a month from the state. And in turn, they were paying the foster care people additional money of $5,000 per child. That's $15,000 that they got. That's all wrong. That's all wrong. But I'm sad to say that I don't have any more money to fight them. Thank you, Zanzan. Zanzan was talking on my show last night. By the way, Zanzan, you never gave me your name, your phone number, or your email so that I can get you your free 15 minutes with Mr. Davis. You need to give me your name, your full name, your email, and your phone number. My phone number is 626-698-0990. You can text that number. So please do, because you talked last night. You're entitled to 15 minutes. It's up to you. I don't have to force free legal advice on you. And Amanda says, I had to stop taking my prescribed medicine to just get my children back, which are adults now, but it has been a major effect on life growing up through. I know it is. Sad to say is that my two children who are still living at home to me, my two young children, my two boys, who are still living at home, have to hear this live stream all the time. And it hurts because they went through a lot of abuse in foster care and in CPS's hands. The child protection system in Orange County is bad, as well as the LA County and San Bernardino and Riverside and Kern County. I can go on and on. It's very corrupt. And I hope Doge gets to the bottom of this, because children should not be taken as guinea pigs to use as pawns to get money for people to get bonuses. I mean, our social worker was so bad. She bragged about her eyelashes she got, her makeup, her accessories, her clothing, her BMW car. She got bonuses after bonus for what she's doing, all paid by the federal government. And whether you're in South Carolina or Ohio or Pennsylvania or on the reservation, there's a lot of abuse that goes on. I've talked to Lakota Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. I've talked to the First Nation tribe up in Nova Scotia. The Native American Indians were the first immigrants, both in North America, Canada and the United States, have been abused so bad. A lot of them don't know about the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. Also, we have that terrible thing that Clinton did. He thought he was helping out families by eliminating reunification and forcing families to go in foster care, because foster care is quick. Also, foster care is corrupt. Now, that doesn't mean all foster care are bad. I have a wonderful mother who's a foster mother in Montana, Betty Jo. And she's trying to get her niece back. And her son is in Nebraska. They're in Montana getting the child back. And they're working with an agency called the ICPC, which is the Interstate Compact Placement for Children. It's a government entity that's supposed to help transport and protect the safety of our children. But sad to say, I had one child that was dropped off in Texas. They were transported from Georgia to Texas because the kid had special needs. So they used ICPC. But then CPS, when the child turned 18, they wanted to keep him. His mother was incarcerated. She did her time. And she was just talking to me last night, Danielle from Georgia. She's finally got her son back, but he had to spend an extra 2 years of his adult life in CPS hands because it would not release him. That's how corrupt they are. Whether you're in Texas or Georgia, I've only had one social worker over the 1,500 people that talked to my show for 40 minutes. Her name was Carol, and she's from Maryland. And she's actually trained as a clinical psychiatrist. She has a college degree in that. And she tells me that she had 6 months of training in the state of Maryland. Now, she didn't disclose where in Maryland, but she was a social worker there, and she talked. And it was nice to hear from a social worker. I challenge any social workers listening to, call in. I've had other people that are foster care mothers call in, or third-party social workers, and it's open. This is an open forum. Maybe you could tell us why CPS steals our children, why they lie, why they misuse the funds. I mean, it's truth. Just recently, there is a father in suburban Virginia who had a horrible case. In October of last year, they took his child. There was no charges. He has it all on videotape. And they ripped this child that was breastfeeding from the mother. The child was only, I think, 4 months old. Taken from the father and mother by a strong arm of the police. And that's the sad thing. The police are supposed to protect the social workers. That's why they're out there. They're not supposed to be the bad arm of the law or supposed to force the CPS things, but they sometimes do because they don't know what. They're caught up. Policemen are good. We need policemen. Social workers are good. We need social workers. But we need the people that have principles and scruples, that are honest. The theme is, if a family is messed up, help the family. The focus of social services and the CPS workers is provide food and shelter and clothing and education and transportation and medical, even help you find a job, and to help you if you're one of those victims in the fires of LA or the fires of North Carolina, South Carolina, or the rains or the storms or Texas, or wherever the disasters are striking. We need help for those people, not punish them because they lost their home down the river or their home burned to the ground. Work with them. I have no idea why FEMA cannot enlist the National Guard to transport containers, mobile homes, recreation vehicles that sit on lots, that collect dust, that do nothing. They can purchase them a lot cheaper than to put them up in a hotel room for a year. All they have to do is get the National Guard to transport those vehicles by air, drop them to a site. Now, in the fire cases, all they have to do is clear the driveway. All the utilities are there. Your sewer, plumber, and electric, all that. That can be hooked up to a mobile home. That mobile home can be done in a day with the hookups. And those people can live in that home, raise their family, and rebuild their home. And CPS can help them with food, help them find a job if they don't have a job. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help one another, not tear people apart. That's what CPS has done. They've torn families apart. They tore my family apart. Because I was involved in CPS, no one will hire me. I think that's the actuality. I'm looking for work. And unfortunately, I lost all my savings to CPS, the savings I was going to live on at a retirement age. But I have nothing. So I have to start from the beginning. I mean, I'm very blessed to have a small home, still at the beach, 3 blocks away. But it's a struggle because all my retirement goes to rent. And what little assistance I get is for food, but my food is very limited. And I have a family of 4 people that are trying to live on $500 a month. And in California, it's hard. Sorry, that's where I was born. That's where I was raised. But when you have gasoline still over $4, $4 to $5, you have eggs still at $10, and it is because of the flu, the bird flu. Milk at $7 a gallon, bananas at 70 cents a pound, bread that's $2 to $3 a loaf. I could go on and on. Tomatoes, $1.30 now. Roma tomatoes. Your cabbage is $1, the green cabbage. Everything goes. It's $2 for a head of romaine. Corn, who used to be a quarter a piece, is $1. Corn, $1 a corn. Now, I know that if you make a lot of money, you're not affected by it. And yes, California is very rich. But there's also people that live here too that are less fortunate, that have not made the kinds of money that other people have made. But I know that I've worked hard. I've worked since I was age 15. I've worked all my life, and I've taken care of my 6 children. They've never been homeless. They've never been without food or shelter. And I've taken care of, I have 42 years of marriage. That's a long time. That's a lot of years of taking care of your family. And it was really hard for me. When my in-laws, who I did not know at the time, my wife's mother and father and 3 sisters and brothers, would call in once a week, starting in 2010, shortly after I lost my job, that we weren't taking care of our kids. They wanted to take our kids. They wanted to take our kids. And I maybe I'm spending too much time talking about my family and stuff, but I'm trying to share that times may be tough for you, but hang in there. I never given up. There are so many times but I have a strong belief in God. We're all in this circle of life. It may be a little circle for some and a big circle for others. I like to be in the big circle. You start out as a small infant, helpless, and in the end, you end up that way. But hopefully, you're on this railroad tracks. The left side being the circle of life, and the right side, the tracks to get to heaven, to get to God. And during those two tracks, there are beams, the wooden ties that connect the tracks. And so in life, it's like that. I plan to live a long time. I want to help the people who are listening. I want to help you all, fight CPS. I love to make changes. I love to come before Congress and tell them what is really wrong and how they can fix it. I have many years and I have a big, strong background that I can help fix the child protection system. It's important that we have it. So many children are being abused and neglected, and it's hard. And a lot of us, we should really be looking at our country and making the economy better. I think we have a good president that can make it go there. It's really hard right now because he's making a lot of waves, not only in the United States, around the world. He's not a friend of Russia if you're thinking that that's what he's doing, because right now he's really telling Putin where to go. But it's sad. I'm glad that I'm not in Ukraine because I could not stand to see people be murdered like they have been. I mean, people that survived World War II are being raped and killed again. Why? It is hard. It is hard. But if you follow my 5 rules, get an attorney. And if you can't afford an attorney, use the court-appointed attorney. Kick them in the butt. Make them work hard. Make them work for your case. And if they don't, then report them to the state bar and have them disbarred. File a lawsuit and sue them for negligence. But you need to have an attorney because they have to be able to navigate and fight CPS. You're not going to try to do it yourself. You're like Alice in Wonderland. You fall in this rabbit hole and you met the Chester Cat, and the Chester Cat directs you to room. That is CPS. And you go nowhere. CPS is corrupt. You don't know the good from the bad. So you have to filter through it. So get an attorney. Get 3 quotes. And one of them is Vincent Davis. I've given you the phone number. I've given you his rate. All you have to do is ask for his references and check up on the references and have that talk with him. And you get a free talk. All you have to do is be a guest on my live stream or call in. And you get the free talk and you can ask him. And then you can retain him. And if you can't, don't give up. Now, Christina's really gone through a rough time in her life. She said that she was wrongly in a group home in Orange County. Aside of that, I have no belongings, no clothing, with a shattered heart. I could use a voucher. I was a ward of the court. So Christina Reynosa is one of the foster kids. And that's the sad thing, because the foster kids, it stays with you on your record unless you get it expunged. You need to make sure your record's clear and get it expunged. And if your case is over, make sure you get a letter from the child protection system that your case is over. Because they will come into you again. Foster children who later grow up and have children owned find 99% of the time their kids are taken by child protection system. They're taken by CPS. I know that for a fact. I have one strong case. A woman who was in Richmond, Kentucky. who's trying to adopt her special needs son, who's in his 20s. And she was in foster care all her life, her teenage years. And she was abused and on and on and on. And they still are trying to retaliate against her. And it's sad because she is fighting double pneumonia. She's getting better. I have talked to her. She eventually come back to our show, I hope. And Manson says that her grandson is in foster care and he's getting black eyes, as CPS says he's doing himself, which I don't believe. I agree with you. See, Amanda has a grandson that she wants out of the system. Christina Reynosa, Bob, I'm filing a grievance from being trafficked by the court. I think you should, Christina. All of you out there, it's time that we fight CPS. It's time that we make them get better. And I'm hoping that Doge does something with CPS. Or Doge. I keep saying Doge. But anyway, I don't want you to give up. Now, rule number 2 was the documentation. Make sure you get a notebook and put all your court documents, all your parenting class certificates, all your program certificates, all your drug tests, all your court papers in there, and separate them with subject dividers. Get 20 or 30 subject dividers so you can organize and find where things are. And the most important document that I come across is create a time log incident. Time log incident. Incidents that are recorded by time. It's a log of incidents. It's like a diary or anything else. You start off devoting 3 lines on that paper. The first line is the phone number, if it's the incident on the phone, or the location, if you have the incident that happened somewhere. Then you put the date and time, and then the people involved. The second line is a summary of the incident. What was it all about? A 1-sentence summary. And then the third line is the outcome of the incident. And if you don't have the outcome, don't panic. Fill it in when you do. Leave a space. And go to your next incident and next incident. And that way you track all your events, and you'll remember 6 months, a year from now, what went on. Rule 3 is do not talk to social workers or the police. Don't let them in your home, and do not surrender your kids. Your home is your castle. When your drawbridge is up, your door is closed, you don't have to let anybody in. You're taught at an early age, do not talk to strangers. CPS and police are strangers. And I'm sorry to say that, but, there are rogue CPS and rogue police. You don't know. Too many people have been shot and killed by opening the door, by policemen that are overzealous or whatever their problem is. It's wrong. So you don't open the door. That's the easy way to avoid them. Now, some of these videos and scenes where they try to talk behind the door, don't do that. Don't edge them on. The best thing to do is don't answer the door. And then you'll find out who is there because they'll leave something. If they don't leave anything, then it's not that important. But you need to get an attorney right away. That's your clue to get step number 1 done. Because when you meet with these people, you got to meet with your attorney. I know you've gotten so much done, Reynosa, because I know that you've been busy, Christina. And you will win in the end. And if you happen to meet them outside, be polite, but tell them you can't talk anymore until you have your counsel represented, till you have your attorney before you, because it's a legal matter. If it's a legal matter, you have the right, your civil rights, to have an attorney present. So you just tell them very nicely, I'm glad to meet you, I'm so-and-so, and if this is about a legal matter, I can't talk to you anymore. I have to have my attorney present. By my civil rights, I'm entitled to an attorney. and you said that you'll get back to them about time to meet and talk. And whatever you do not meet in your home. Do not meet at their office. Meet at a place like Starbucks or McDonald's or the library. In fact, I did my meeting with them outside of a Mexican place called Rubio's that was near where I lived, and she talked to me. But I didn't know. The thing is, you shouldn't really talk to them unless your attorney's present. No, do not talk to them. Unless they have a warrant, they can't come into your home. You don't have to talk to them, and they can't take your child. They have to have a warrant. And be careful, there's a lot of fake warrants out there. Again, you need to have your attorney present. Also, there's something called medical trafficking. That's where they grab your child when you take them to urgent care or the emergency room because they have a high fever or something. Unbeknownst to you, social workers work out of those places. They actually are there to try to get people to get money. That's why they're there. They're not there to help. So say no to them unless they have a warrant. Furthermore, if you're pregnant and you're having your child, don't let them in your pregnant room. And if the police want to, they have to have a warrant. You need your private time. You need your bonding time with your child. And when you're with the hospital, you make arrangements so who can come in there. And you want no social and no police in there, you have the right to do so. Now, rule number 4 is to use the internet. And it's very important when you use the internet that you place your wording right. You want to start off with the city, the state, and if you're from another country, your country, followed by the letters CPS. And then after that, you can put what you're looking for, like the ICWA 1978 Act, or you're looking for something else, like how to file a motion, a 388 motion, or how to do a 160 hearing or 180 hearing. There's lots of things you can find on the internet. Spend the time on it. Spend 60 hours, 80 hours researching. There's so much you get done in there. And lastly, rule 5 is to take your documents, make copies, and put in an envelope and keep your notebook. Important documents like marriage certificates, your children's birth certificates, your driver's license, things like their social security cards and their grade reports and their shot records, things like that. So those are the 5 rules. Now, I've talked to them. You can listen to them on the recording, but I do have to go. I want to thank all of you for listening and sharing your comments with me. I love the emojis, and thank you very much for the emojis. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Zan and Christina and Philistine and Amanda for the heart. Zan and Christina, thank you. And then Amanda for the thumbs up. That's great. But I do have to go, but it's not long because I'll see you again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will pray to you guys that whatever is wrong that gets fixed. So be careful out there. And join me again tonight and we can fight CPS. Besides Amanda and Christina and Zan, I want to thank also some new people. I never know where you're from. Oscar, I don't know what your case is about, but thank you for dropping in. And also, let's see who else we have besides Oscar. We had Oscar, Amanda. I thought we had one other person, Christina, Zan. If I forget anybody, thank you. And God bless you. This is do not stop fighting for your children. This is Bob Pace. Say, have a blessed day. And I'm signing off.